by Diane McKinney Whetstone. According to McKinney Whetstone, Sunday morning in South Philly is like buttermilk with a quiet smoothness to it.
It's her first novel. We were excited to read it. It was about a family issue, men, women relationships.
This soul-stirring novel is a story of a dynamic and evolving portrait of an African-American community in South Philadelphia in the 1940s and 50s. It probes beneath its residents' lives to tell a powerful tale of damage and healing.
It is the story of Noon and her husband Herbie, who find comfort in the church and also in the arms of another woman.
Noon is a PK, as we say in the African-American community. That is, a Florida preacher's daughter, too scarred from a secret childhood trauma to let a man touch her. This man, her husband Herbie, is a former drummer who at one point toured with the fiery and seductive jazz singer Ethel. And now, well, let's just say they're still touring. When newborn Fanny and 5 years later Ethel's niece Liz are abandoned on Noon and Herbie's doorstep, the community embraces this newly formed family.
It reminded me very much of family that I knew, family that I've had.
Many of the women struggle in private against pain, especially Liz, who hides in the closet and eats plaster to deal with what she knows about Herbie and Ethel's affair.
Infidelity, abandonment, betrayal.
And the significant role each one of them plays in the lives of two very different women who find, much to their shock and amazement, that they've got something in common.
As the threat looms of a highway to be built through the church-centered neighborhood, individual characters find their fates, and the delicately passionate narrative coalesces around a soul-galvanizing metaphor of bricks and mortar and spirit and fantasy.
Because indeed, one tumbles throughout every single character development, every single plot.
And her characters tumble into one another, and yet they land on their feet.
Writing in a style as accessible as Terry McMillan, yet with the literary touches of Toni Morrison, McKinney Whetstone's Tumbling is a warm and wonderful, beautiful and uplifting story.
You come away realizing that love really can conquer almost anything.
Tumbling is a colorful book, and once again, the themes of protecting family and community come tumbling through.
Secrets, seduction, soul-stirring passion, and a woman who's a bit of a Jezebel. Read Tumbling and get ready for our next segment, the book discussion.
Tumbling by Diane McKinney Whetstone, about the ties that bind us and the secrets that keep us apart. You got a secret? Anybody got a secret?
Oh yeah, I'm not telling you, but we all got secrets.
Somebody tell us a secret. Everybody in this book has a secret, and everybody around this table's got a secret too. But let's deal with their secrets first. Noon, secret.
She could not consummate her marriage. And there was a valid reason for it. But because no one dealt with psychosis and psychology and all that good stuff, she never got to overcome. Well, she did.
So Noon, cold as ice.
Cold.
Okay, Ethel, she got a secret?
But warm in her heart.
Warm in her heart, that's all.
But also, Noon had a secret a secret longing for the pastor. That was one of her secrets.
Ooh, that's an interesting take.
Well, you saw how...
You didn't see that?
No, yes, we did. Yes, we did.
I saw his longing for her.
I saw his longing for her.
For him,
Wait,
but-
I gotta find
talk
it.
to me about
I
that.
know you're
She
looking for it. Let's
I
talk
am
about
looking
it.
for that.
Here's Noon. Frigid as all get out, cold as ice, unable to consummate her marriage, having been raped in the past. Cold, cold, cold. The only time they talked about warmth, and we know what they meant when they said that, warmth, was when she was with Pastor Shell.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying.
When he, to put it kindly, laid hands on her.
That was the first time she had warmth. That is a secret longing for her pastor, is
That's
it not?
She was longing for the feeling. That's what she kept saying.
And I
She
think the
kept praying
feeling
for
was
that.
the result of her therapy. I think that the pastor was giving her therapy.
Therapy. Let's talk about Pastor Shell. Y'all ever heard the phrase pimps in the pulpit?
Yes.
Okay,
sure,
is that
sure.
not Pastor Shell up one side, down the other?
Absolutely.
Then why do you say that so
unfortunately.
certainly, Janet?
Well, the man had his own secret. The man could not read, and he was pastoring a very large, very prominent church.
Yes.
And if he could, he would be dealing with more sisters than just Noon. I got no implication about other women that he would be attaching himself to. I think certainly he could have. Noon seemed to interest him. I agree. Now, and his secret, I'll tell you what I thought about with his secret. I thought about during slavery, how many pastors or ministers would lead who couldn't read. Reading wasn't the issue. The issue was, do you know the word, and can you interpret it, and can you lead this congregation? That was the role. So that's how I saw him. I had fault with him, but I thought he was brilliant, the way he got around not being able to read.
The way he got over on everybody, the way he used everybody.
Including his congregation. He was taking money under the table while preaching quite a different message to the congregation. Don't trust these white folk. Don't trust them. But y'all slip me a 50 and I'll make sure that they chill out. I'll make sure that there's no...
Sold his
exactly. He
people
sold
out. Yes, he
them
did.
out.
But who else had some secrets?
I don't think that Herbie concealed his secret of womanizing as closely as we might like to think about
His wife
it.
wouldn't let him touch her, so
He justified
she
it.
understood.
But
that he
his
was out
secret
there.
was that he was getting it from other places. But I think another secret was the parentage of the two girls, Fanny and Liz, which again is not uncommon in the black community. Now you have to go through a lot of legalization, a lot of courts and adoption,
But they
et
tried to make
cetera.
her go through that, remember?
Yes, they
At one
did.
point, exactly. But initially, those children just came to her, and the secret was that these were not her natural parents.
No, but remember what Noon said when he brought the baby to her. She looked at that baby, she looked at her husband, she looked at the baby again, and she saw the similarity, and she said, now, I know this man would not be low down enough to bring his bastard child of my house to raise. That was the biggest secret
that's
of all.
how
But,
because
but
she
maybe
did
that's
not
a lie
know.
that also binds us.
That's right. The ties and the lies that bind
That
us.
bind us as well
That's
as
right.
keep us apart.
That's right.
Well, it's not at all uncommon in our community for a family to take in another child. That child could be a relative, it could be the daughter of the man to whom you are married, but that child belongs to everybody. That they're raising these two girls without even knowing their parentage, because that's irrelevant. The children belong to everybody.
What attracted Noon to Herbie? He is a roustabout, a man about town. This is a good
He was a musician.
church. Yeah, this is a good church-going woman. What attracted her to him?
All of that.
Let's call it
She was
chemistry.
stable. She was God-fearing. She was a good woman. How many times, even today, when one becomes a widower, within months they're remarried?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, because there's warmth in that hearth. You know, there's food, there's the stabilization of a home-cooked meal. So I think all of those things.
Her mother wanted her with him because she knew that women who were raped are blamed.
Well, I think just that it was a sign of the times that women needed to be married, to be taken care of.
Now we're in the second half of the book where it all comes undone. It all does what? Comes tumbling down.
Tumbling. Hey, made the connection. The church comes tumbling down. The community comes tumbling down. But Miss Noon frees herself, doesn't she?
Miss Noon gets warm.
Yes, she gets hot.
Noon has finally
She is
found.
freed. She has freed herself.
She has freed herself. And did it take Reverend Shell to do it when he was laying hands on her?
No. But in a very strange way, Reverend Shell had a lot to do with that, though. He had a hand in that church coming down. He had a hand in that community being destroyed and being tumbled.
And what about the two girls? Liz.
Well, isn't it curious now that Liz has become a lot like Aunt Ethel? A little hot to trot down in the basement with some man who's old enough to be at least her uncle, flitting around as though she's got a right to be there and not ashamed.
Not ashamed at all.
You
No
can just see
shame
her
in her
hiking up a
game.
dress, making it shorter. What happened to Goody? She was never a Goody Two Shoes, but she's a Miss Prim and Proper outside. But get her down in that basement, it's quite another story.
It is.
And she had a lot of secrets. You know, building on the analogy of tumbling down, look how she tumbled down all the walls as she ate the plaster to deal with her anxieties. And so outwardly, she was prim and proper, but her whole world was just tumbling in front of her.
And her relationship with Herbie.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, his secret that she was keeping was the fact that Herbie would visit in the middle of the night,
Midnight crawl.
midnight, to Aunt
Creeping.
Ethel. And she'd be there and she'd hear them and see just his shadow. But she recognized him. And she kept the secret, which was interesting. Until very long time. And so to her credit, I mean, but those were the types of things that she was holding on to.
Exactly.
But
And that's why she was eating
and
the
that
wall.
was the tension between them, and that
Yes.
no one could understand.
No.
Why couldn't Herbie demonstrate love toward her the way he could toward Franny, who was, of course, a very different personality. But the secret, he knowing that she knew, and she knowing that he knew she knew. I mean,
It was his fear.
It was
His fear.
You know, the fact that she knew that her father was sleeping with her aunt. Do you know what I mean? Can you imagine what that did to that girl? And we know everybody's got a secret. Care to share?
Oh, well, that's what makes it a secret, girlfriend. Now, only for this room.
Okay, only for this room.
Just
Just tell
for this room.
us. It's just us.
It goes
in here.
nowhere
Just
else.
for this room.
Goes nowhere else.
Oh, look at y'all hanging on every
Don't-
single
don't
word.
tease, don't tease. Don't tease.
Now, here's my secret. Okay. I like younger men. I ain't gonna lie. I'm like Mom's Mabley. The only thing an old man can do for me is bring me a young man.
You know, the theme of this book talks about family and community, but it's the secrets that protect the family, that protect the community. And so I'm going to protect myself by not sharing my secrets with an S.
I'm in
We
agreement
are
with
your
you.
community.
Yes.
Because we're your sisters, we're in your life, we're in your business. We know your secrets. But because we love you, we're going to keep it and save it for next time.
So, Joyce, what's your secret, darling?
Yes.
Do tell.
The biggest secret about me that really nobody knows is I am relentless. No. When I want it, I'm going to have it.
And what's your batting average?
I'm batting 1,000, my sister. I am batting 1,000.
Well, mouth agape, honey. I'm stunned.
Oh, so now y'all are shocked.
Just shocked. Shocked into silence.
What's your takeaway from tumbling? Anybody?
I've got a feeling everything's gonna be all right. I love that because at the end of the day, everything is all right. You know, it all comes out in the wash. And what happens? We get two women who are allegedly not alike, who now they're wearing each other's shoes. One's in spiked heels and the other one's in slippers. Wait a minute now, we have more in common than we think. And everything's gonna be all right.
Sing it, sister.
My takeaway from this is family always
When
wins.
push comes to shove, that's your last resort.
That's your last resort. That is your safety net. That is your sanctuary. And just because you don't birth children means absolutely nothing.
means absolutely nothing.
And I keep coming back to what has resonated with me, the whole idea of protecting that family, protecting that community, and doing whatever it takes to protect it. Whether you're protecting your church, whether you're protecting your man, whether you're protecting someone else's children that you are now raising, doing whatever it takes to protect that community and protect that family. And the walls came tumbling down.
Tumbling down.
Family, yeah. I got all my sisters with me. We are